But when you're a teen, I just remember being in that space, like many, where this is prioritized, and you will literally sacrifice things to be in that space. And these TV shows just showcase that, is sacrificing you and even learning who you are to be in these spaces of so-called seen and loved. But love will never ask you to sacrifice yourself. Love will never ask you to not take the journey of self.
Hello guys, welcome back to the Daily Humans podcast. If I sound like I smoke 10 packs a day, it's because I just laughed my butt off and Ashley has made me laugh. I'm sorry. My name is Nina.
Her name is Laughing Her Butt Off. I'm Ashley.
It's gonna be, it's yeah, I'm in that kind of mood right now, so don't mind me. But yeah, so sorry. Actually, this is my second apology for the day.
There's nothing to apologize for. We have our talks before episodes, and we catch up on things, and we, just allow ourselves to get into the pizzazz of jazz before we start these episodes. So you either get the remnants of it, or you get our serious mode when we're in the serious state of seriousness. So
Yeah.
one or the other.
Yeah.
We're also
That's
experiencing technical difficulties as well. So if that happens during this episode, as it seems to happen for almost every episode, yeah, I can't apologize for it because it's not like we asked for it. Mercury microwaving itself for some reason just never ends. Like, it should be finished in the microwave by now. It's been burning at this point, but it just keeps messing with my side of the Wi-Fi, I believe it is. So if I cut out and you see me with a straight face or you see me looking annoyed, that's not permanent. It's just for that moment. So don't take it seriously. Thank you for this episode. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Oh, yeah.
The amount of times we say that, one day we should just end it and then restart it. So we'll go for a little bit, intermission, and we'll have the little thing up, intermission, and then we'll come back. Hey, how you doing? We refreshed ourselves already.
Yeah. It's still Mercury retrograde, so hopefully, afterwards things can improve again with the Wi-Fi. But I'm sure, as soon as it's up for with Mercury retrograde and it's up for you, it'll come back around to me because it's been a while. It's been a minute. But last time I think it was me, actually. It wasn't so much you. So anyway, welcome back, you guys.
I love playing Parcel. Yeah, love Parcel. I'll wrap this up for you. You know what? When it ends, I'll just wrap it up. Problems into the box, wrap it up at 14,000 kilometers to Germany. Oh, where is it? I see it flying over the water. And then it lands in a space, and then I hear, Ashley, my internet, it's not working. I'll say, well, honey, sharing is caring.
Yeah.
Always has been. Well,
yes.
With love.
Fully agreed. Fully agree.
Actually, I wouldn't want to do that because then I wouldn't be able to get a hold of you. And, that's a problem for me. Because then if I don't hear from you, being 14,000 kilometers away, I'll have to start swimming. And we know that I'm not going to last long.
Well, there are still, we still have letters. We can still send letters or email.
I feel like, actually, I understand that, but I'm the middle child, you see, and we're bred to do the rebellious act of the opposite of things. So I would get into the water, right? I would get the singing bowls. And then I would get the dolphins, all the whales to come and take me to Europe. Yeah. And then who knows what will happen? I'll walk to Germany, or I might bring my bowls with me, and then a unicorn might come through and pick me up and take me on airs. I don't know. At this point, I believe in everything and anything. Oh, that's where I'm at in life.
Yeah.
You say Bigfoot, I say yes. You say unicorn, I say why not?
Why not?
You say Loch Ness Monster, I'm like, where are we going to go find it? Where do we
Right.
start the journey? This is the
Right.
journey to the center of the earth, part 5. I'm fine with whatever. But yeah, I would travel that distance. If I don't hear from you, I'll be taking that entire adventure and you'll hear from me in 10 years. That's when I'll make it there.
No, you'll get there early. The whales have you covered, and the dolphins as
Mm.
well. Just make sure that a dolphin doesn't fall in love with you, because then they'll end their life.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's an element of bestiality there, but also just a lovely love story that's going to stay fictional.
It's
But
happened. It's happened in real
more
life.
like I'm not surprised. People fall in love with their cars.
No,
They fall in love with other things.
it's the
Yeah.
dolphin. The dolphin fell in love with the human woman, not the
Oh, I
woman
mean,
with the dolphin.
I was going to say, I mean, I believe that could absolutely, absolutely. But more like they'd see you, like you come out and the light shines on you, and the dolphins are like, fudge, is she like goddess of the sea? I think so,
Mhm.
100%. And then all of a sudden they're all in love with you and they're like, what shall we do for you? And you're like, bring my friend from Australia. So then they come and pick me up and then they take me to you. And we start singing Under the Sea as we're going. I'm officially the new Little Mermaid. And then, yeah, I sit on a rock for a little bit and have my little mermaid moment. And then we continue the journey. It's like a road trip. Where
Mhm.
shall we stop next? Where are the sirens? I want to meet them. They're not eating me. So apparently they only eat men, which I'm sorry, but apparently they do. So I'm going to go meet them and have a chat. Um, and then where else can I go? I want to go and meet, what's her name? The octopus woman in The Little Mermaid. What's
No,
her
that's
name?
not Cruella de Vil. It's a different movie.
Cruella de Vil. 101 Dalmatians are living in the water.
Ursula, that's her name.
Cruella de Vil, but she's singing it from the water. Blah, 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 blah. You're funny.
It's Ursula. Oh,
I want to go and meet Ursula
oh.
and I want to talk with her and I want to tell her, I know that you were cast out. You have a story and I want to hear your story so we can switch this around for you because I know that you became this way because of a certain king. There's a story that came
Mm.
out about her story and about every villain as to how they
Mhm.
became a villain. So I want to
Yeah.
have a conversation with her. Hopefully, she won't try to sell me a potion or a wish or anything, because I'd have to politely decline and say, I prefer a psychic medium in the human life, in the human up there in the earth part, the
Mhm.
land part. Yeah. So I'll have to pass on that. But I would like to talk with her and then we can continue on. Yep.
That's really brave. Ursula always scared me growing up. I still don't really like her. Or Cruella de Vil is the same. I think that's why I confuse them because they both carry the same energy. And I'm just like, why would you want to take the puppies and skin them for fur? Who does that? Who thinks like that? I'll skin you before you
Can you
touch my
eat?
puppies. Uh-uh. Mm-mm.
Let's be honest, honey, she's a representation of human beings that generally use
True.
animals for fur.
True. But
She's a
who uses
representation.
dogs for fur? Who came up with that? Actually, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't need to know. So if anybody out there knows where that comes from, I don't need to know. I don't. Mm-mm. It's just La La
Mm.
Land. But
Don't tell her, she's saying, don't say it. I just want to say this thing. You know who scared me a ton when I was a kid? The queen in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
mm,
She sent me to a place called Disassociation. Honestly, she terrified me. I've watched the whole movie, but when she came up, I can't say her. Who are you talking about? I don't want to hear her voice. I'd block my ears and I'd close my eyes like this. I'm like, I don't want to see you. She terrified me. When she'd go down to the dungeon as the turning into the old lady and she kicked the skeleton,
mhm.
us children had no idea. No idea. That was the king. She put him down there to starve and die. It's just terrifying. Oh my gosh, the part when she closes the door. She goes down and she closes the thing after her. She's cackling, and it's just her eyes as she's cackling as it closes, and I'm like, oh, nightmares. Oh, ending nightmares.
There's a lot of
Terrifying.
trauma in these movies. Damn.
Oh, 100%. Nina, I swear, as an adult, it's true when they say that it's not the same. When you watch it as an adult, you have so many things going through your mind when you're watching this thinking, do they have police there? Do they have police? Soldiers in Snow White's castle. The Queen killed the King. What are we doing? The dungeon? Soldiers put people in the dungeon. Where were the soldiers? Sleeping Beauty. Why? She was so young. True Love's kiss saves her. Wasn't she like 16 or younger? Actually, what age is she? Was she?
I have
We
no
need to
idea.
Google it.
But I know I just found out recently that people, I don't know when that movie originally came out, but people used to only live until the 30s. And so it makes sense to me now why a lot of girls got married off so young if you die at 30. And yet,
Yeah.
the life expectancy has extended, and yet there's still a demographic that it chooses its people young. It's children young, not people. Children.
9 years old. 9 years
Yeah.
old is one of them.
Mm.
Aurora, I can't say it with the Aussie accent. Aurora. Everything
Aurora.
just combined. Yeah. Aurora is 16 years old. So I guessed it right.
Mm.
16.
Is that Snow White's name? Aurora?
No, that's Sleeping Beauty. That
Oh,
was
Sleeping
Sleeping Beauty.
Beauty. Okay.
Aurora.
Yeah.
What is Snow White? Actually, no, her name's Snow White. I'm pretty sure it's just Snow White. Yeah, Snow White's name is just Snow
I'm
White.
starting to get really concerned that I don't actually know any of the princesses' names outside of Ariel.
You didn't like, you said it in your birthday episode, wasn't it? That you just didn't really vibe with the princess vibe, which is absolutely fine. So yeah, that's fair enough.
But I still
Why would
saw
you
the
remember?
movies. I should know their names. Like
Yeah.
they have names. It's not Sleeping Beauty. She has a name. Call her by her name, please. Give some respect to the woman, okay, to the girl.
I
Don't
have
even
some
know.
grace for you, my friend, because I mean, when you're not paying attention to that side of it, then you're not obviously going to remember their name. You're just going to know of maybe the character is familiar, but
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
that's true.
maybe you were looking at the dragon in Sleeping Beauty the whole time. You know, when Maleficent turns into the dragon, you're like, dragon, finally. You know, maybe that was the thing. You weren't watching the prince try to defeat the dragon. Your eyes were on the dragon, going like, boss,
Yeah,
boss. She's sprouting out green stuff.
yeah.
Boss, green fire. Mm,
I really do like dragons. They're great. And I
they
did
are
like
great. Oh, yes.
Malevolent.
I love you
Can I
figuring it
just
out. Beloved.
can I just say this real quick? Ever
Yeah.
since I did the Shaggy impression in the last episode, I'm telling you, Shaggy music has been popping up everywhere, and it's starting to kind of traumatize me because I feel like my technology is listening. Is they're like, Shaggy, is that you? I shall play you your song. And just now, Malevolent, I felt like Shaggy. Malevolent. Like, I just felt like it was coming.
When you said you're like, I could be. What did you say? You're like, if anyone needs me to be his. What did you call it? Not
Backing
doppelganger.
vocal.
Yeah. Maybe it heard it and thought, yes, we'll prepare her. We shall prepare her.
I'm being haunted. I'm being possessed by Shaggy. Oh gosh.
They're listening to us. Isn't that a movie? They're listening to us. Oh my gosh. You did a good
No idea.
impression, though.
Thank you.
A very good impression.
Mr. Lover Lover. Yeah.
I have an autograph. before you
course.
become like his I forgot the thing again. His
Backing
backup.
vocal.
Yeah. I want your autograph in general, but now I want like 3 of them, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can sell 2. Yeah, I get it.
Not selling any. I'm not selling any.
Oh.
You know why I want 3? Right? It's like in Harry Potter. The 3 thing, you know? The cloak of invisibility, the elder wand, and the stone of resurrection, right? Your 3 signatures are like a gift from my timeline of self. So I get one now. I'm getting really deep with this, so prepare yourselves. So I have one now, and then I have another in my 50s, and then when I die, she gives me another. And then all 3 of them as like a triangle. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm going along with it. When I die, they're going to form a triangle. We're going to cast a spell, and then they're going to come with me in my mushroom coffin. And then when I get up to the spirit world, I'll show them those signatures, and they'll put me in the VIP.
Wow.
The signatures, and yeah.
You've really thought about it. A mushroom coffin? Wow, I did not know those
Oh
were
yeah.
a thing.
That's the only thing I thought about. That entire story I just made up on the spot, obviously. But the mushroom coffin, hell yes. I would put
Okay.
myself in that.
All right.
Me under a tree in a mushroom coffin, fine. No wood. Not good for the environment. So I have
Anyway,
thought about
um before we get back into talking about death and dying and being buried,
it. Let's get into it. So, have you done? We did that before a couple of times, actually.
so death.
It's so death. Yeah. What? Who knows when? Who knows what happened? When are you hoping? Just some dark humor mixed in with that, as they call it. Yeah. Anyway, we are talking about. No, we're not talking about death. We're talking about. Do you want to announce?
Well, if you want me to, I mean, you can do it. You already are.
Okay, I'll do it. Okay. Fine with me. I don't mind. Firstly, I just want to say this before I announce it. Nina got her hair done, and
If you have noticed.
yeah, you have to notice now because I mean, obviously, you would have when she jumped on because I did, and my jaw fell open, and I said, "Marry me now." Basically, I was telling
I
her
said
that
yes.
telepathically. Yeah, that's
Oh.
right. You did say yes ages ago. I mean, you're trying to like put it on the right finger now. There you go. Like, hey, take that. She looks absolutely stunning. So I
Thank
just
you.
need to put that out there too. Stunning. And according to, oh, wait a second, hold on.
According to studies, dyeing your hair makes you die early.
Yeah, I've heard of that actually. And I just kept dyeing my hair. Oh, that's a bit of dark humor there. Yeah, apparently it affects your brain when you keep dyeing your hair. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's factual or I don't know. I mean, it's chemicals, so I guess, but what, yeah. And it's not going to stop me. So what we are talking about is shows and movies that we have watched that make us feel something, that infuriate us, that bring out the Aries Leo rage of fire, or things that we just want to talk about because they just need to be talked about. Otherwise, we will pull out our hair. So
Yeah.
that's what we're doing. We're talking about the shows that piss us off and the movies that drive us crazy and all things in between and maybe some joyous moments. But you'll find out as we go. So That's what we're talking about for this episode. Thank you for joining us, and goodbye. I just keep like saying goodbye to the collective, like we're done. Oh, I don't want to be here. I do. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm having a drink.
we got to talking a little bit ago about TV shows and today as well, and we were just like, you know what? Let's just do a whole episode where we talk a little bit. And obviously, as a disclaimer, you can have your own opinions. If we mention one of your favorite shows, you know, you're entitled to like what you like. If anybody's watching this who's been part of the creative process, it's fine. We all grow, we all learn, we all evolve. You know, criticism is part of life. We've had to learn it, we all do. But yeah, we will be talking about a few things that have she refuses, but I shall continue. We've all had moments where certain TV shows have driven us, or movies, or whatever, have driven us absolutely up the wall. And just prepare for my rage today,
Right up
because
there.
I have a very, very big rage.
She said drive us up the wall. Imagine like Spider-Man shit. Like right up there. There's no stopping.
Godzilla.
Right to the top.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Godzilla. Who's the other one?
King Kong?
Oh my gosh. Yes, that's it. King Kong. Haha. You can be Godzilla. I'll be King Kong. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
He's still
Yeah.
a boss. Yeah. Who
Okay.
wants to start the rage game? That's what it sounds like right now. What can we rage the most at? Actually, we should rate it. What makes us rage more? Do we start with the one that makes you rage the most and then go to the least? Or do we, switch it around?
There's one that I would like to talk about first, because I think this might be the shortest, because I did not watch the entirety of the thing because I could not. So if you're cool with that, I'd love to mention the thing that drove me insane.
I'm cooler than a cucumber.
Cool. Well, as you guys know, I like to watch maybe creepy movies, thriller, horror, whatever. I'm not sure where this falls into within the category because, again, I did not finish the movie. I could not. But there is this movie, it recently came out in the last 1 or 2 years, called Bagman. And I don't know how big the hype is. I don't even know what the reviews are like. I typically don't check when I watch a movie. I just go by what pulls me in. And this seemed curious enough. So I watched it, and essentially the movie started with, let me just say it like this. The movie cover has like a little, what's Pinocchio? What is that thing? What is Pinocchio? What is a puppet?
A boy who's a puppet, yeah. Puppet that wants to be a
Is
boy.
you described it so accurately. No, like those little things that like are on strings, and
String?
I don't know what they're called.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna call them puppets.
Puppet. Yeah, puppet.
Okay.
No, I don't know.
I don't know either. So just bear with me, guys. No, but on the cover was this little puppet boy and like crumpled up. And I'm like, okay, this must be like a haunting type of movie. I don't know. I will never come to know. But the movie started off with a family, a guy, a woman, their child, beautiful family, moved into a new house as it goes. And there's one particular scene that happens, I think, maybe 20 minutes into the movie. And the baby that they have, I would say, is no older than 2 years old. He just learned how to walk. He can talk a little bit. Cute little guy. Adorable baby. I love the baby more than anybody else in the entire movie within the 20 minutes I watched. But they were out in the backyard. And the backyard faces the woods, and there is no covering whatsoever. And the mom is like, little whatever his name was, little so and so, little kid, Mommy's gonna go over here. She's gonna do a little bit of work, and you stay on the swing and you play, okay? You stay where I can see you. And so she works, and her back is towards the woods. It's not facing the child, it's on the side. Near the house on the patio, and the child is over there, and she's not facing the child or the woods. She's just working on her laptop and working away, being a boss mom, which I can understand. And then the child, barely able to walk and talk, gets up and walks towards the woods because something is pulling the child in. There's like something that the kid saw or whatever. And he's walking towards the woods. And mom does not notice. And I'm like, okay, can happen. You lose sight of the kid. The kid goes into the woods. The woods are massive. This baby is small, size of my little pinky finger. That's how small the child is, okay? And he just walks into the woods. The mom eventually looks up from her laptop and realizes the child is not there. So she gets up. I'm gonna get so mad. She gets up and she's like yelling the kid's name. Let's call him Tommy for the story's sake. Tommy, where are you? And Tommy, and she's like walking around, and now she's starting to panic a little bit. And she's like, Tommy, you're not gonna get dessert if you don't come out right now. Tommy. And I'm like, you're talking about dessert, your child's missing. You don't know where, okay. And then she sees the woods, the entrance where the kid walked in, right? And she walks up and she walks in and she's like, Tommy? And this woman, she does not call for help. She does not call her husband. She calls nobody at all. You know what she does? She walks very slowly. Tommy, and she just walks. And I'm like, I don't know how old he is. He's a baby. He's yay small. He's so tiny and so cute and so adorable. And he got lost. He walked into the woods. You did not know that, but now you're walking the same path he walks. And you're walking your child. There could be predators of humankind, of animal kind. There can be all types of things. Never mind the supernatural aspect of whatever the movie is about. And you walk into the woods and you call his name like you're like, I don't know. She was acting as if she misplaced groceries instead of lost her human child that she gave birth to. And then she finds him and she brings him back. Do you think they talk about what happened? No. Do you think she mentions anything at all? No. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm trying to at this point I'm watching the movie, right? And I'm like, relax. I'm sure, she's just trying to keep calm to not freak out the kid. Maybe that's why she's not like screaming. But I'm like, why are you walking? Like you're taking a leisurely walk around the neighborhood. But she gets back and you can see like this mirage of what their day is like. And you're like, where's the dad? And then it gets night and the dad comes home and the kid runs to the dad and they play out in the backyard and they laugh and they giggle and shit and they put the child to bed. And then they sit at the patio, the husband and wife, they have like a baby monitor to the side. And she's like, they have a glass of wine, okay? And then she's like, they're talking about life. I'm her right now. I almost lost him today. And the dad's just looking because he's not making sense of this. I am not making sense of it. I was working on my laptop, trying to complete tasks and do what I need to do. I don't know. I almost lost him today. And the dad's just sitting there. He's not saying anything. And I think they have like a little bit of a discussion about something else. And then he just reaches over and touches her hand. and then the light flickers and shit, and I had to turn it off. He doesn't say anything. He's not like, "What do you mean you lost him today?" She doesn't go into the discussion of what actually happened, so she keeps it a secret from the father of the child.
Yeah.
And they're just like, "It's okay, honey," and I'm like, "You lost." If I had to take a step back because I felt so much resentment come up and hatred for these two characters, because I was just like, what do you mean? You lose your child and you don't tell anybody until the end of the day, until your husband or the father of the child comes home, and you're sitting at a dinner table like it was nothing. And I had to take a moment because I was like, if it were me, if I had been in the husband's position and I come home from work, I don't know, after a long day of work, it's dark outside, it's probably like 8, 9 p.m. And my significant other, who has the responsibility of taking care of my child, of our child, says, I lost him. And she didn't talk to me. She didn't text me. She didn't call me. She didn't call the police. She did. I mean, I understand not calling the police because she found him, but still, like you let somebody know. You let your significant other know. What do you mean? I'm sitting at a dinner table, we're having wine, you're like, I almost lost him today. Like it's some kind of metaphor. I had to take a step back because I was like, am I toxic? Because I know I would be livid. I would have to take a walk around the neighborhood and cool down because what do you mean you lost our child and you did not let me know? So yeah, I had to turn it off. I don't know what the movie is like. I can only tell you from my own perspective. I would have lost my shit had I continued watching it, because I can already tell these characters are not very smart. So yes, that's my rage for today.
Rage bait. It's just pure rage bait at this point.
Oh God.
I think some movies are made like that. Otherwise, the storyline would be difficult to unfold if you had parents, I guess. I mean, you have movies where you have parents that are overprotective or they're just protective and then things happen. So I guess you can find a way, but maybe some people struggle without loosening the ties a bit, making it a little bit more like parents are more, well, she's more like free flow and in self space and all that. That's just my opinion, obviously.
You
I
could have
don't watch
texted
scary
him.
movies.
You could have texted him.
I
Who
think
in
there
their
are a lot
right
with
mind?
scary movies, I swear.
Who in their right mind does not contact their significant other and waits until the end of the day until something like that is significant? Like me, if I had been in the position, right, and if that had happened to me, if I were finding out this news that my significant other lost our child, and I'm finding out 10 hours fucking later, I have to curse, I'm sorry. Shit pisses me off. I would genuinely look at that person and be like, listen, I understand shit happens, right? I don't feel safe leaving my child in your care anymore, because I understand things can happen, but if you do not notify me about our child's well-being when there's something wrong, even after the fact, that gives me no confidence in you as a partner. And
Yeah.
I understand, characters have to be a little bit stupid in horror movies because apparently you can't be in a horror movie and be smart, which is, by the way, a stupid trope that needs to be eradicated. But I understand sometimes you have to let things go. You have to make it a little bit more murky in order to progress the storyline. But like that is, and it was cut badly as well on top of that, because you could see certain scenes not match up with the others, and I'm just, anyway, yeah, I'm gonna drop it now. I'm gonna move on with my life. Unbelievable.
I think it's a very valid thing to be annoyed over, in my opinion. There are plenty of times in I mean, I don't watch horror a lot. I cannot, for my nervous system, it can't cope. But in the times when I've been able to, and I have watched Scream, surprisingly, after the nightmare it's given me. But there are some moments, especially the first time I watched it, I was younger. I think I was a teen, and I was like, why can't they just kick him in the balls? Has anyone thought of that for the entire movie? Like, or something. Has anyone thought of that? You'd have him on the ground, you'd take the. How is he always getting the knife? How is he a super? Okay, this movie is not on my list, but is he like a superhero of some sort because he's able to this room, that room. He's able to get to certain places in a way where you're like, it's not fully connecting. I know that he uses a voice thing to change his voice. I know that he can maneuver a little bit, but sometimes I'm sitting there thinking, you're making this person seem invincible, and maybe that's the
Yeah.
point. But
Yeah.
here's me thinking, how has no one defeated him after this long?
It's like Halloween. Like they just morph like a normal human being into like this legendary creature almost that can never die. And like
Yeah,
that's kind of where it
so many
loses me.
times.
Ugh.
I did see Halloween, the first one, with Jamie Lee Curtis. Obviously,
Mhm.
she's, I guess, the main character. I did see the first one, and I was like, obviously, I was not watching anymore because I was afraid. But it is just interesting that when I went on TikTok and was sort of looking deeper into, I guess, the sequel and that, how is this person? How is this? He's a man. He's just a man with skin, basically, on his
Yeah.
face, right? Yeah. So how is he not done enough to get shot at so many times and being fought so many times?
He was in a burning building and it crumbled and they shot him and he still lived. Make that make sense. But yeah.
Yes, that's the movie thing, right? It's not meant to be fully realistic. So we can let
Yeah.
that be. The frustration of that is understandably whatever.
It is too
One of my
much.
movies. Yeah. What's too much?
No, that was
Oh,
my
the super.
segment into your show.
Before I actually mention that show, because you mentioned like a small movie,
Mhm.
I want to mention this movie
Yeah.
because I watched this recently. So this movie that I'm talking about, I used to watch it when I was a teen, and I think many did, those early 2000. Oh my gosh, John Tucker must die, and like all over the man kind of thing, like the full analogy of that. Well, I mean, yeah, that movie is a good one to talk about, but it's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one with Ashley Tisdale, and it's called Picture This. And have you seen
Mm,
it?
I think so, yeah.
I watched it the other day because I saw it on Prime and I thought, oh my gosh, I have not seen this movie in a long time. I wonder what it's like now with my adult brain. So, regrets. So I watched it. I was watching it and I thought, okay, overbearing, possessive father. That's that storyline. He eventually realizes that that's wrong. Okay. At least in some movies, the father never realizes it. The mother never realizes it. But in this one, he saw it. Fine. That's all good. That's not my problem. My problem is the popular guy at school that everyone loves, like John Tucker. And he gets all the girls, and oh, he's the man of the entire school, right? And she needs him. They don't even know each other, but she needs him. I'm going to get the popular guy to notice me, and I'll do whatever I need to for that to happen. Okay? They don't know classify. They don't know each other, right? What's her favorite color? If you ask Drew, because that's his name, Drew. If you ask him, what's her favorite color? No idea, right? So in the unfolding scenes of this movie, she gets it like Drew. All of a sudden, Drew notices her, he just suddenly notices her. And he's all like, so, I'm having a party tonight. You should come. It's not the exact line, but of course, he goes to her workplace. He sees her there. She hides because she's like, oh my God, I'm in my work clothing. Oh my gosh, they can't see me. And then he comes in, and then it's like, if you have the light that shines, it's like, popular guy from school. And that scene happens. And then afterwards, essentially, she's trying to go to his party, but her father is not letting her because she's grounded. She's in trouble because she went to the columns, I think it was called, after school, and she didn't tell her dad. And because he was very possessive, in my opinion, he decided to ground her for that, which was really unrealistic because it was her birthday. And I'm sitting there thinking, she's allowed to like go out with her friends, but we have different opinions on that. But anyway, so she was grounded. So the movie is her trying to get to this party to be with Drew, to see Drew, for Drew to see her and forth kind of thing, right? That's what this is. And the things that happen along the way, especially the mean girl stuff, illegal, illegal. She actually get the mean girl that tries to stop her from getting with Drew. I don't know, I forgot her name. Mandy, that's it. The mean girl that tries to stop Mandy from getting with Drew, like follows her around at the shopping center and actually pays a worker to put nuts in the juice and then, or a smoothie, I think it was, and give it to her. And I'm sitting here going, illegal, punishment,
Yeah.
straight to jail.
Yeah. You can kill somebody
Just the
if they have
shit
an
he
allergy.
did. Yeah, it was sociopathic behavior, bullying. And you see this in so many movies where bullying goes. But I'm sitting there going, wow, when I was younger, I was like, oh, of course it's bullying. But as an adult, I'm like, sociopath. I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm amping it to that because it was. She cuts up her dress, gets into her car and cuts up her dress and follows her and shit. Yeah. She followed her to her going to a friend's house and then gets out of the car with scissors, cuts off her dress. And then she follows her to the supermarket and then does that. And it's just, my annoyance is obviously the bullying thing, the illegal acts of it as well. But the mere fact that this entire adventure is to get this guy to notice her, and when they have like literally have never had a conversation. So she takes this journey for him to notice her and for him to choose her. And then, yeah. And it's just like at the end, she walks in, she gets in after going through all these tidal waves to get there. And then he sees her, and then he takes her up to the tower. And people told her before, if you go up to the tower, they're going to know you're no longer a virgin, which was another problem. That whole high school bullshit of virginity and virginity being taken, that entire conversation, it's just like early 2000s were obsessed with it, in my opinion. A lot of the movies were
Yeah.
obsessed with it, whether you were pure or, oh my gosh, have you like slept with so many? Anyway. So that movie, watching it now as an adult, is very interesting because I will never watch it again. Just with that whole, it doesn't matter if he doesn't know you, as long as he sees you, you evolve your entire existence around it. And you go for it at no matter what. No matter what.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. Which actually corresponds to some of my others too. So you're going to hear this from me a lot through this episode. So I'm just preparing you.
It's crazy when you really think about how much of So many TV shows, and listen, love is beautiful, love is love, and I know so many of us love love, and are hopeless romantics and things like that, and especially when you're a young kid or a teen, that can be your only kind of like outlet to experience that. So I understand that love is a big theme
Yeah.
in teen movies and stuff, but also I just wish, and obviously this was back then, early mid 2000s, but still, even now, when you look at TV shows that are being made today, it's still not really in the healthiest manner that it's being expressed in. And so, um, I don't go back
Mm,
and watch old teen movies anymore. I think there are a few handful adult rom-coms that I watch, but they're hanging on by a thread because everybody else is so, either I give my whole entire life up for this man, for this one person. Sometimes it's a guy, for this one girl in school, and she's the prettiest girl of them all, and I will bend. I think the 10 things I hate about you covered this pretty well. Just like there was this one particular scene, Gordon Levitt, Gordon Levitt? He has a longer name. I can't remember it. His character was like, you don't get to treat people like trash just because you're pretty. He had like that moment in the movie, and that was the only time that I can remember where, just because you're popular, just because you're attractive, doesn't mean you get to treat people like shit was addressed. But I don't see it happening a lot because a lot of, like you said, even with picture this, why the popular guy? Why can't it be
yeah,
somebody
why
else?
was it? Mm,
Why is it only those two
loved
people,
by
the
everyone.
popular girl and the popular guy? I don't get it.
Loved by everyone. And it's the storyline as well, is that he sleeps with all the girls in school and every girl
Mm.
wants him. It's always the same shit. Well, especially when you're a teenager and you're watching things unfold like this, and you also have experienced moments in your life where you haven't been chosen or you're seeking love, but you don't know what love actually is. And even though love doesn't have an image, it's called healthy love. It's about health for human beings. Whether people want to admit it or not, people are internalizing this stuff through their own survival modes, through their own trauma patterns. That's just that's the truth. That's the absolute truth. Especially when I was a teen, there were some things I was internalizing through the desire of being seen and the desire of being chosen as well. And I was thinking that's a normality. It's not a normality. It's not a normality to chase someone. It's not a normality to wait for them to see you and to treat you like a human being. That's not a normality. So all of a sudden he's interested in you, and then you turn around and give your entire self to him, but he gives you nothing. He gives you the bare minimum. Or he sees you and smiles, and then that's it. Your whole world should crumble around that, which is a lot of what it perpetuates, as well as just it's just unrealistic things that rely on basically trauma for it to exist. Like this relationship has to rely, like this relationship has to start off like that for it to exist. I've seen a lot of that. And even in Picture This, all of us, like, obviously, it has to happen for the movie. But all of a sudden, after all these years, he suddenly notices her, and there's no backstory for what the reason is. So just out of the blue,
Mm.
out of the blue, he must have had a spiritual dream. Like his ancestors came in and said, she Drew, you need to talk to Mandy. She is the one. Maybe that happened, but there's no backstory, so we don't know. So for me, I'm sitting there going, this is so the popular kid all of a sudden doesn't want the popular girl anymore because she's so mean, but he doesn't. That's another thing too. The popular girl is so mean. And oh, stop. I'm going to get started. Like in Cinderella's story, I need to talk about that too. I need to talk about Cinderella's story, and I'm going to. The whole thing of him, the popular guy, dating the popular girl, and she's so freaking mean, and he stands back and lets it happen. He lets it happen. Austin let that happen at the play. He just sat there. He just sat there and he let Sam be humiliated. And I will never not
Well,
be annoyed by that.
I don't know really how much power he had over that situation since it was in front of everybody. It was a school play, and his dad was also at the back of him. I do think he should have said something, but I don't think he could have just like ended the entire play and at that very moment. And obviously, you also have the whole thing of like ego, right? Like the popular guy, he's being forced into being a footballer, which he doesn't want to be. His dad's there. Him getting up and saying something would be him having to actually dismantle the shit that then comes to a head later on, where Hilary Duff's character is like, you're essentially not worth it because you're so caught up in what everybody else wants of you than who you
Yeah.
actually want to be. And I think that was a pivotal moment to see how he failed not only her, but
Mm.
how he let other people run his life, essentially.
I agree.
But yeah, why was he with her? He didn't even like her.
It's like, I hear what you're saying, and I do agree, but it's afterwards. It's afterwards as well. You know, it's still the transition where he still chose to
Right.
loop himself through that, apart from going up to her and saying, okay. Especially with the fact that they were emailing, even though he didn't know who she was, which to me, like, come on, the mask really didn't hide
Yeah.
the entirety of her that much. Come on now. Really? Like the blonde hair? Come on. Her voice even? She sounded
Yeah.
exactly like anyway. They were emailing back and forth. They were texting back and forth. You know, he create like he had these feelings that he talked about. He's talked about out loud. If you have these kind of feelings and you still stay silent because you let your fear speak louder than that, to me that's kind of like what then? What does that person deserve then if your fear speaks louder than the feelings that you have admitted to them? If you're creating that connection, but you're allowing your fear to speak louder, that's not fair to her. That was never fair to her. And that's in my opinion, obviously. But then when that and I do agree, and I get it, it was a lot of pressure. But even afterwards, he had a chance to show up in some way, to
Yeah, and he
challenge
didn't.
it, and he didn't. She had to go to him. She had to go to him, and I love that part when she gets into the locker room and she tells him it as it is. But still, she had to go to him and she had to challenge him when what she went through was enough for
Yeah.
him to literally in that moment, even if it was just them two and then he could have tackled everything else,
Right.
he could have showed up. He should have shown up. He should have shown up even if he was afraid.
Yeah.
So it
Or
just, yeah.
written one of those emails at the very least.
He was about to. If you remember, he was about to, and then he stopped. And it's like, why? Why? Why are you
Yeah,
stopping? Because you think she's not going to want to talk to you? Well, how do you know if you don't try? She was just
true.
humiliated in front of the whole school.
Yeah.
You have your issues, but she's been constantly humiliated throughout the freaking movie, as well as living with a horrible bunch of people who are
Yeah.
constantly dehumanizing her. And obviously, he didn't know that. I know. But just the fact that she was being constantly met with people that were not giving her or showing up the way they should have been. And he didn't, in my opinion, show up the way he should have been until she had to basically say,
True.
you were the biggest disappointment. Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Just old, early, just my whole issue is how we teach love. And I mean, why it's such a big issue is because it is a relay of society. Emotional abuse, narcissism, giving your entire self to someone. It's actually a replica of what's happening in our society and it's not healthy. That's also why, and you can't control, as I said, how humans beings internalize this stuff because they internalize it through their own coping mechanisms. They internalize it through their own thought patterns, their own belief systems, their own limiting beliefs. I can't watch a lot of horror because it activates my nervous system, it triggers my nervous system. So I can't watch horror movies because of that. Because my body perpetuates that it's in that spot of unsafety right now and this is too much and I can't cope, like too much is happening. So, as much as we like to say things aren't that serious, we're not robots with a robotic system. We're human beings that will take this shit in through our own selves and then splurt it out through our own selves. So that's why I am so passionate about what I'm saying because, uh-uh, uh-uh.
Yeah. I
And
heard.
in Jurassic Park where they try to hack into Ned's thing and then he goes, you didn't say the
Mm-hmm.
magic word.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what I thought of. That's what I thought of. We're talking about movies, so
yeah.
why not?
Another thing you mentioned before we got on, and I definitely want you to mention this because this is wild to me. Even is the 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 obviously I haven't watched it, so I'm gonna let you take the reign here on this one. But the expression of emotional manipulation and abuse in a lot of TV shows is concerning. There's one in particular called Too Much that's on Netflix. It's not on mine, but it is probably on your guys's if you're outside of Europe or maybe in other locations in Europe as well. Why don't you peel that one back, Ash? Let us know what you've been experiencing.
So one day I was scrolling through Netflix and I was looking for a show to watch and I came across this show called Too Much. And I thought, okay, I'll give it a chance. So I started watching the first, I think, 3 episodes, and I was like, I cannot watch anymore. Oh, I cannot do it. So I stopped. A few days later, I was like, I just need to see what this ends like. I just need to see the ending. I need to see how they ended off. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did. Not for a good reason either. So I continued to watch to the 10th episode because it goes to 10, season 1. And I was like, oh my gosh, when it ended. Spoiler alert, by the way, we'll put that in the description anyway for
Yeah.
those that haven't seen it. Oh my gosh. The show symbolizes a ton of emotional abuse from her side. Her behavior is in need of help, honestly, because I was sitting there thinking to myself, I mean, maybe that's the point. I don't know. I haven't read anywhere that has said that this is the point of the movie to showcase maybe this kind of form of emotional abuse. I don't know. I can't tell you all that, but I haven't heard anything. So I'm sitting back here thinking, wow. She moves from New York to London for her career because she got offered a job in London. Goes to London, settles down, meets a guy. They start, hitting it off and they start dating and all that jam. And she's holding on to her past relationship, which, look, it's valid because they were in love and all that jam. So she's recouping from that, which I think, I'm not even going to go there actually with what I'm thinking. I'm not even going to go there. But she's recuperating from that past relationship. And during the episodes, it showcases what she does to cope with that, which is sending like videos of herself raging to his current partner, so his new partner, through Instagram. So she makes videos and she sends them to her on Instagram. And she continually does that. So there was that as well. As we move forward further on into the episodes, the person that she's dating in London, so he's in sobriety for 2 different addictions and has been for 3 years, working really hard on that. Yes. Well, this relationship gets to such a point where he turns back to them. And honestly, with the showcasing of instability with mental health from his side, and he's admitted it, it also shows a bit of his backstory with his family. So it's understandable. And then with her and her own instability with emotions and just constantly being in the space of needing to be seen and needing that, I'm not going to say attention because that word has been misconstrued in such a way. Like attention seeking has just ruined a lot of what actually isn't attention seeking, in my opinion. But it's just the pure thing that she chooses certain things to be seen that is actually manipulative and coercive and is abusive. So she does that to be seen. And in her emotional states, she just explodes. And the consistent exposure to that. And she always needs reassurance as well that she's loved. So through that and the continuous exposure to that while he was working through his own stuff, it just ended up being a factor. And I'm really skipping through a lot, by the way. You'd have to watch it to get a fully understanding of what I'm saying. It gets to the point where things just really explode and they take a turn. And getting to the end. Oh my gosh. I just couldn't believe that after all this is a big spoiler. So I'm warning you to stop. Or fast forward if you don't want to hear this. At the end, they get married.
No, they do not.
Yes, they do.
What?
Married. Literally, just to say this quickly, he essentially, because he went back to the addictions that he was struggling with, and he was really struggling. He got in a certain position where he cheated, and then she kicked him out. And then as he was packing, her dog collapsed. So he picked up her dog and ran on foot to the vet, and her dog passed away. And then she showed up, and then she was blaming him that it's his fault that the dog died. Like it was just, I was sitting there going, there was nothing about it that was his fault, by the way. Nothing about it. And he's getting overwhelmed. Like the actors did a really good job. They really did. He perpetuated the overwhelm that you get emotionally that many of us have experienced. He did it so well where he was standing there, sorry, and she's just there going at him. And she just kept going. And you could just see him boil, like he could see it. You could see it. And then all of a sudden he implodes, but in the way where he attacks himself. He doesn't attack her, he attacks himself. And it's just like, she doesn't stop even after, oh my gosh. She doesn't stop even after that. She tells him to stop. She's like, stop, stop, stop. But that you stop talking at that point. You stop what you're doing and you pull yourself back because you're overloading this person. Like I'm sitting there going, I'm literally sitting on my bed going, you're overloading him to the point where he's, instead of going outside of himself, as he's been doing this entire show, he's just attacking himself, right? Because he doesn't want to hurt anyone. That's what a lot of people do. They don't want to hurt anyone, so they go at themselves. That's a reality, may I just say. And then they stop, they split, and then she realizes, I should have never lost him. She goes through this motion, and people are like, you should get back with him. So she goes to this.
No.
Yeah.
No, they did not say that shit to her.
Her family, enablers to her behavior.
Yeah.
People are enabling her behavior. And you know what, too? Okay, I want to say this as well. The people that she was around, no. Not one single person. Oh, Nina. Oh, I swear there was just so much crappy human behavior in in 10 episodes. I had like 10 like spiritual hernias. Truly. Not one person was a friend. She met people at work. She met people that were friends with him. None of them were acting like even a freaking decent human being or a friend. So basically, she's around these people that have crappy human behavior and are projecting that while she's doing what she's doing. So it's like, wow, I like the dog. I'm on the dog. And then that happens and I cried. I cried. Oh my gosh, I cried because they did it so well. They did it so well. I swear, the actors, all the actors did such a good job. They really did. Because when you really are affected like this, in annoyance, but also sadness, they did a real damn good job.
Yeah.
So kudos to them. But the fact that at the end they tell her to go back, she goes back and says, I love you. She says all this other stuff, but like, yeah. And then they get married. And then
Why
that's
would
it.
he
And I'm
take her
sitting here
back?
going, it's like, to me, it riddles trauma response.
But he
It
ruined her
riddles that.
sobriety, or she contributed to him ruining his sobriety. And if he has coaches and people there, it's just number one thing: cut out the things that are triggering you to the point where you run back to those spaces because it's not good for
Yep.
your mental. And he marries her. Oh my God! What is the point of that show? To just perpetuate more so of unhealthy relationships and
I
unhealthy
don't know.
relationship dynamics? Mm-mm.
Nina, you know what? This is the other thing too, people. He was around people that, like, one particular person was pushing him to come out of his sobriety. So he was around people that were also participating in the things that he was addicted to, but yet he never broke his sobriety. So that just goes to show you how impacting emotional abuse is.
Yeah.
He was around people that did the very things that he was addicted to and did not break his sobriety. But then emotional abuse came into the factor of what she was doing and other things that she was doing. And I mean, realistically, it was a lot of things in his life as well that were adding to it, as well.
Yeah.
I will say that too. But I literally sat back and I thought, I watched all 10 of these. And you know what? It's also learning for me. It's also learning because I sat there and I analyzed and observed. I wasn't watching out of enjoyment, actually. I wasn't. I just thought to myself, wow, there's this show was created in the first place, but secondly, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. Those relationships exist. Those kind of dynamics do exist. So, yes. That's another one. At least you know to prepare yourself. Look, I just want to say this last thing with it too, because it is a show and I have a lot of respect for the actors in it. Absolute respect for how they did it. I just really want to commemorate that
Yeah.
because I don't want to put down their art and their creativity and the work that they put into it and the emotional energy that it asks of you to perpetuate this kind of stuff. It would be draining. So, major respect to them. They did do a good job. It wasn't my cup of tea, but they really did a good job. So major respect there.
The show that I wanted to mention real quick, an honorable mention, I'll say, is a show that I think most of us have most likely seen. And if you haven't, um, I mean, view at your own discretion, but The Vampire Diaries. That one, at the time when I watched it originally, I knew things were off, right? But I didn't watch it for, I think, like 10 years, well over when it was finished. I think I got halfway through and then I just never picked it up because I had such a love-hate relationship with all of the characters. But when I went back and I rewatched the last few seasons that I had missed, it was so it's not a bad show at all. I just think if you want emotional damage, watch it. That and Supernatural. And Supernatural was one of my favorite shows, but that's a different discussion for another day. No, the relationship between Elena and Damon and Stefan and Bonnie and everybody else, um, the whole trope of dating brothers is quite peculiar to me because obviously there's this whole thing of like, oh my god, but he's cute, and then there's the other one, he's cute too, and you know, and like it's so hard to choose. That's one thing. It's another thing to be with a brother and then be with another. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to have a crush and then not be able to decide and then pick one. It's another thing to be in a whole ass relationship, break up, and then date the other one. And I'm keeping it to myself because I know I am not in the majority here, but I personally never liked Damon. I think he was impulsive, he was rash, and yes, he changed. Not really. I liked actually him with Bonnie a lot more, but Bonnie was my favorite character of the show. I'm not going to get into the whole show because that's not what this is about. It's mostly about the whole relationship aspect between Elena and Stefan and Damon and the dynamic between the two. And then Catherine came into the mix. And it felt like the show was trying to justify in a lot of different ways being with the same person. And it's interesting because, gosh, do I want to talk about this? Well, let's just say there tends to be a lot of dating other people's or best friends' exes in life and in certain communities, and it seems to be a lot more prevalent and a lot more overlooked nowadays than it used to be. But it's off. It's weird. What if maybe this is another step up? I don't know. But what if, you know, there's a guy and he dated your mom and then now he wants to, you know, he broke up and he wants to date you. Like I could never. And so like being the sibling that is dating a person and then that person ends up dating your other sibling. First of all, what's wrong with my sibling that they would say yes after they knew they were with me? And then making a whole TV show about both of the brothers fighting for her. I'm like, why would you fight for her? And Elena is, honey, you're telling me you've been alive for billions, well, maybe not billions, but definitely a few centuries. You can live forever as a vampire and you can't find another girl. You're telling me out of all the, oh well, with Stefan it's because it was connected to his first love and she looks like her. But what about Damon, who's been around the world, done all these different things, been to war? He can't find another girl. He can't find somebody else that's not a teenager in high school and his brother's ex-girlfriend. Okay, I mean, you know, it's very difficult to watch that as an adult, but I digress.
I didn't get very far with it because for some reason, I can't tell you all why, I have no idea, but for some reason it was so triggering
Yeah.
to my nervous system. I don't know why. I can't tell you why I can't. I can't. I don't understand. But I would feel so afraid of this show, and I don't know why. I really don't. But when I was watching it back then, the trope was a little annoying, but it was mostly I just stopped watching it because of that. But I'm not surprised with the duo of brothers, and you know, let me have both. Let's experience the trope. Yeah.
Incest. Okay.
You
Well, not really, but also kind of really adjacent. But no, I do have to say
know when
this
you
too.
say incest,
Yeah,
have you seen Nanny McPhee? Do you know what that movie is?
I believe so, but I can't remember it.
Then it's not gonna make sense then. So please do continue.
With the Vampire Diaries, I have to say it was like I said, I've watched a lot of horror movies. I mean I don't really watch gruesome ones. I haven't in a long time, but returning to the Vampire Diaries when I did, that was a hard watch because the gore and the violence is so
Yeah.
brutal in that show where like honestly
Yeah.
I had to sit there and I'm like I know I've been out of the game for a minute and I know I haven't watched any like really horrific things in horror movies, but um, this is a lot. Like I had to take breaks from watching the seasons because, and honestly, after like I think the first two episodes that I watched when I returned to it, I was like, I don't know if I can watch this because this is horrific. I don't even know how this was on TV at this point.
Mm.
And I was like, I didn't have this impression at the time when I began the show, so I don't know if it got worse towards the end and more horrific to kind of drive in the
Yeah.
fear factor more, but I'm not surprised that you couldn't get through it. And I wouldn't recommend it for anybody who is squeamish because it was hard for me and I'm not I've seen these types of things before. I don't consume it anymore, but it shocked me as a veteran
Mm.
in the horror community. But
Yeah.
yeah. Um, there are other brothers that are a lot more of a topic, though. Do you
I was
remember?
gonna say before that though, once I do mention that, I know what you're talking about. I was gonna say before that though,
Yeah.
one particular thing, what was the really popular show that everyone was talking about? I'm trying to remember it. Like not House of Dragons,
Oh, Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, that's it. I only literally watched one episode of season one, just the first. The moment I saw an essay scene, I was out. I was done.
Mm.
No one will ever be able to convince me that you need essay to portray the storyline of a movie. No
Mhm.
one will ever be able to convince me. I don't care how many things you come to me with of proof of why it's needed, you will never convince me. There's one movie with Sylvester Stallone. I feel like I said his name wrong. Sylvester Stallone, right? I hadn't watched any of the Rambo movies, so this was my first one. And I watched Rambo Last Blood, and the essay in that was vile. Like it took me time to come off that one. That was absolutely brutal, and I guess it shows human trafficking and cartel, but I just think we can showcase this stuff without showing how gruesome that is. But anyway, that's just my opinion. But from what Nina was talking about, was a show that it's still technically running. There's still episodes being released. So, fair warning to you all again, spoiler alert, it's a show called The Summer I Turned Pretty. The headline itself is a big red flag,
Yeah.
for starters. Apparently, it's based on books. I believe so. So, and again, episodes are still coming out. So, spoiler alert. Just have to keep reminding people so we don't hear people say, oh my gosh, you ruined it. No, we warned you. We warned you. I messaged Nina and I said to Nina, Nina, have you watched this show? Because oh my gosh, I'm watching it right now and you wouldn't believe. And I was telling her, ranting to her about what I'm watching and witnessing. I just had to rant to someone about it. And just like the Too Much TV show, I kept watching. I kept watching because I just needed to see the point, the hows, the whys, just the storyline of this and where this was going. At this point, I was watching it for educational purposes of learning the point of these books. If it's about books, well, I'm literally watching what they're about. And like what Nina was talking about in Vampire Diaries, it's between two brothers and a girl. She's technically a teen when it starts. It starts off, honestly, in my opinion, the way that it comes across, the summer that I turned pretty with literally the first episode comes across to me like the summer that I hit puberty and became a woman, and now they see me as a woman. Now I am pretty. Now I have reached that point. That's what it screamed to me, which is a major red flag within itself, honestly. But as we continue down the line of episodes, Belly, oh my gosh. She's a teen, I get it, but far out. When you're watching it as an adult and you're watching this unfold, they're close family friends. I mean, since childhood. She falls in love with the oldest one, and then because there's instability there, because essentially Jeremiah and Conrad is their names, their mum is dying, and the only one that knows is the oldest. So he's going through the isolation period of needing time away and not being able to be a part of these spaces of fun and all of that because he's coping. And no one really knew that. I'm not going to get too deep into the storyline, right? I'm just going to talk about the behavior and the fact that this storyline is, it's so, it's, how do I say this? It's a roller coaster for no reason that it just doesn't need to be. The entire thing does not need to be. But Belly, she reminds me, like her character, the way that she's being portrayed to us reminds me of like a child. The way that she perpetuates these spaces and the way that she acts towards, that kind of being seen by these two brothers. Like it's just obviously when things work out the way that it does for the first one, she moves with Jeremiah. And then it goes back to Conrad. And then it goes back to Jeremiah. And then at the moment, she's still it's perpetuating that she still loves Conrad, but she's with Jeremiah. So she's actually with him right now. They're actually engaged at this current point of time. And Conrad is still playing some part of infatuation because first love kind of thing. But what annoys me so much is the back and forth, but also too, nothing else matters to Belly. So she's doing things that are harming other people, but because her mind is so stuck in how these spaces are evolving and how she's being seen in them, that she's not thinking externally in how things are happening. At their mother's funeral, she essentially brought I'm really saying it from adult self because as I remember how I was as a teen, so I can't ridicule, and that's not my point, but it's to show the awareness of how much we can get stuck in infatuation. You know, we call it love. And I know that I heard that as a teen, but a lot of what I was hearing when I think about it now was just unhealthy infatuations and crushes. And I guess when you're a teen, the pressure to be in love or to be seen by the opposite gender or even the same gender, you know, just to have that kind of space, no matter how it shows up. So, yeah, at their mother's funeral, she does something that is not thinking about where she is and what is currently happening. And then she gets told off for it, but because her emotional capability is so like, you know I did wrong, it's so overwhelmed that she's not able to take accountability. She instead gets into her emotions, and that becomes the forefront apart from accountability. And then she has a friend who enables a lot of it because she doesn't want to lose her. So it's like there's no one telling her that, hey, I mean, even if they did, she doesn't really listen. I mean, they were against the engagement, but that kind of went another way. But she has people that are in disagreement over stuff, but she also has friends, particular best friend who has had her disagreements. She has had her disagreements, but it gets to a point where she just supports whatever she does. And I guess I do understand that in a way where if you can't tell someone a situation, if you can't tell them for what it is and they're not going to listen, you can't force them to. So it's just a thing of letting it go and letting them go through their learning journey. So, all in all, this show again is just that depiction of this really unhealthy, what people see as love. And look, I'm not saying that with the first brother, it's not that, because essentially I think it is, because she's constantly still stuck in that space, even when she's with someone else, and they're both feeling that way. They're both feeling that way. And he even admits it in the show, the oldest. But they're at that point where it's like, oh well, we can't go there. So they just keep living their lives while still feeling this. So I do think there's connection in that, but it's how it has evolved. It's all unhealthy. It's just all unhealthy. And I think people know this. Enjoy your shows, people, but don't internalize it as healthy. That's my point. Enjoy your shows, but don't internalize it as reality. Don't become best friends with brothers and think, I'm going to replay this show. I'm going to do it. No, please don't. Please don't. Because I guarantee you'll be upset and then you'll be asking why. And then it will be something that you'll be unfolding throughout your time when it didn't need to happen. It doesn't need to happen. Yeah, there were a lot of hard watchers with Bally's behavior. A lot of hard watchers.
For me, there are 2 points here as well. The parents, right, of each individual. I know there was the mother that passed away, but the remainder of the family, they know that she's in a relationship with one of them or both of them. How can that occur? But even aside from that, I think even with that, the whole thing, you mentioned it because you reminded me of this, and I do want to bring it up. The whole point of she wanted to go on a vacation, right, to Paris, I think it was at the beginning, and then
Oh, yeah, yeah.
one of the brothers was like, "No, don't go," and then she's like, "Okay,"
Yeah.
and then she just spent the summer with them, if I remember it correctly, the beginning of the show. But it's this whole thing of you again, we're driving this point back into it because this is sustained throughout, so not just social media but also just life.
Yeah.
Girls who maybe lack a little bit of self-identity, of discovery, of finding themselves, in something other than men, And
Mm.
then give up their whole entire life, their whole devotion, their whole youth, and are now engaged. That blows my mind. Because I didn't watch it that far, by the way. I think I made it halfway through season one or close to the end. I don't know, but I couldn't do it. But tie themselves to one person in such an unhealthy dynamic and back and forth. And listen, it could be love. But how do you know who you are outside of it? And again, it goes back to this whole thing of you don't have your own identity yet because you don't have lived your whole life, well, not your whole life, but you haven't lived a life outside of this situation with these people in this environment. And who are you
Yeah.
outside of your relationship and your connection to somebody else as a girl, as a woman, as a young woman evolving through life? And it's just, I wish there were a little bit more shows. I know that they're out there. I've seen them. I just can't think of them right now. But I wish when it came to love or infatuation or attachment, that would be explored a bit more instead of like in Too Much, them getting married. Like, make it a cautionary tale, make it be, or at least let there be enough time for each character to really grow up and learn their mistakes and actually make changes so that it can be a healthy dynamic later, not just, oh, we're just all messed up, but I love you and I pick you. Okay, never mind all my abusive behavior. Never mind me sleeping with your brother. I'm just gonna be with you. I do. And I bet you, she's not gonna say yes at the altar. It's gonna be the other brother. Or the other brother's gonna be like, it's me. You need to choose me. And I know this is gonna happen. I haven't even watched
Oh
it.
yeah.
I
Oh
can already
yeah.
predict it. It's not over.
Oh god.
It's not
Yeah.
over.
No.
And can you be
Of course.
married? Can you be married to someone who will always have some kind of like lingering attachment to to your brother, to your sibling?
Mm.
I don't know if I could do that.
I'm not going to say this is every movie, but I've noticed the common storylines is that it's either a woman that's in infatuation or love, or it's a woman that is so independent that a
Ah,
man needs to come in and teach her how to love and how
yeah,
to feel and how
yeah.
to emote. She's such a workaholic and that's all she does, and she's so mean and yeah, in that space, and then he comes in and softens her, and it's along those lines in dynamics, and it's interesting. I bet there are movies that meet the middle, but I haven't seen a ton, so but I do think they exist. I'm not saying they don't. But with what you were saying, yeah, she applies to go to Paris for school and she gets approved. She gets off the wait list. She gets approved, and she was going, but when he proposed to her and something happened, he asked her not to go, and she agreed. And you do see it depicted in the show where her friend convinces her to go. Her friend is basically saying, don't drop it for a man. Like, go and experience this. This is what you want. Go do it. So her friend is encouraging her to go. And she was like, I don't know, what about him? I don't want to leave him. So we'll see what
Is he a
happens with that.
puppy?
But
Can he not take care of himself?
it's really interesting it's always been fascinating to me what love or infatuation does to a person,
Mm,
or even what it creates. And it's like possession, it feels like, I think.
yeah.
And from how people have described it, it's like a possession where you're making choices because of this dire need within to have this, to experience this, because it's what you want. You're feeling such deep, intense emotions towards it. I will do anything to keep feeling this because there's a part of it that feels good. Like it's meeting the parts of you that are essentially, as we say, we either say it's missing or it's misconstrued, or we say things like there are patterns within us that have grown from unhealthy behaviors from other human beings that make you feel like you need this fulfillment of that from others through the same unhealthy patterns or even similar. I want to make it very clear that I am in no way, shape, or form putting down people who experience this kind of thing because I know how layered it is. It's something I've experienced once in my life and absolutely had no idea why. I didn't ask for it. I didn't sign some contract with the devil himself and say, I want to experience this. How yes. It was not a choice. It was just something that came in and I didn't know what to do with it. And I was sitting there like, I hate this. Yeah.
No, please finish. I can hold on to it.
No, you can say it, honey. Say it.
Like you just said, you didn't know how to deal with it. It was like an influx of all these things that you've never experienced before. And I've been there as
Yeah.
well, around that same age. And that's why I think it's so important to show people then what you can do to manage it in the best way you possibly can. We can't control our
Exactly.
feelings 100% of the time, but the actions that we take with them is what matters. And that's why I wish there was just a little bit more support for either the characters that are going through these things in TV shows or characters who find the right way to express themselves within that dynamic.
Yeah. I agree. I just also want to add to that. I think that there's too many shows that perpetuate the same looping of what has always been in
Yeah.
in so many different movies. I mean, there are a lot of books that have similar storylines of romance, but romance is just an unhealthy form of wanting to be chosen. Wanting to be chosen comes from pain, right? Being in a place where you're not chasing, that's not from pain. That's from that grounded stability of self. Because you don't need to chase anyone. You also don't need to seek being chosen by anyone, because that is not a life that you want to live. And I've lived that. Chasing people to see you, you're taking every part of the energy that you have within yourself and you're just giving it to people freely to fulfill the part of you that wants to be seen. And that's not bad. It's not a bad thing. It's just the fact that it's not healthy for you. And a lot of these romances are based solely on wanting to be chosen, wanting to be seen, and thinking that these dynamics are normal. That's normal to go through this. And I'm sure people do. And I'm sure that in a lot of ways there wasn't a choice, it just happened. But it's what you do next. It's the
Exactly.
choices that you make next that matter. Like Belly, if it was real life, she has choices. I can see the choices that she has. How to have a conversation, even if that conversation brings conflict. Of course it is. People are involved. People's emotions and hearts are involved here. Yeah, you can't expect people to not react. You're talking to human beings. They're going to react. It might be uncomfortable. Sometimes you got to get uncomfortable to find the comfortability. So, like I was saying, I do understand what it's like, especially as a teen. It's a whole different world when you're a teenager, and I definitely want to talk more about this in an episode. It's a different world. It's a whole new world, like The Little Mermaid. It is. And it's really interesting to me as to why. I don't thoroughly know why. Maybe that's what happens before the prefrontal lobe fully develops. I don't know. Potentially that's what it is. I don't know. But when you're a teen, I just remember being in that space like many where this is prioritized and you will literally sacrifice things to be in that space. And these TV shows just showcase that is sacrificing you and even learning who you are to be in these spaces of so-called seen and loved. But love will never ask you to sacrifice yourself. Love will never ask you to not take the journey of self. That's obviously my opinion, but as again, I'm talking about healthy human connection, not just love. Human connection will never ask you to sacrifice you discovering who you are and discovering what you enjoy and what you like. And if you want to go somewhere, you go. You know, love will still be there because it's not conditional like that. Even if we find it difficult, oh my gosh, I'll say this last thing. This is last thing, okay? The choices that I've made, even while feeling that deep, oh gosh, that kind of pain. I'm trying to find the words to explain it. But when you have to make that really difficult decision to turn around and walk away from something that you feel so deeply about, and every part of you is like pulled towards it, you know, it's like, no, no. But you know that you have to make that decision. At that point in time, it sucks badly. And you can admit that. We can admit that. That's fine. Admit it. It sucks more than anything, beyond words, even what that feels like. But sometimes you just have to do that one thing. It's just that one thing to get yourself started into a path that is more in alignment and for the betterment of you. The betterment. I feel like I said that wrong. It's just that one step you've got to take. It's a big ass step. I'm not going to sit here and degrade that. It's a big step. You just got to take that one step and keep walking, right? You just keep walking. Even if you look back, you just keep walking. You can look back. It's okay because you're going to have that moments, as I've learned. You're going to look back, just keep walking because the whole point is for your life, for you, for health for you. So watch these shows, but have detachment. Be aware of that, at least. Be aware of it, especially as teenagers, especially as people who have not had relationships before and desire it. Go ahead and desire it. You go right ahead. But no, that's not a relationship that's based on what you're looking for or what you think is going to fulfill what you think you're missing. It's not.
Mm.
Even light.
I love what you just said there. Love will not require you to sacrifice yourself. It will be there when you get back, essentially. And it's true. And like you said, while you were talking, I was just thinking there's for people who haven't experienced real love or true love or have been in a relationship or are still teenagers and have yet to be kind of like endowed into that like time of life. Um, there's so much toxic relationship BS on TV.
Yeah.
Love Island, where people, have to pick each other. There's The Bachelor picking each other. There's another one that I can't think of right now. I had it in my head, but it went away. But there's so many different dynamics within relationships where it's more so about the drama rather than the actual validity of the connection and the solidity of that and really getting to know one another.
Exactly.
So it drama can be fun to see, and I get it. We don't have to have like real life things every single time on TV. We don't need it to be
Mm-hmm.
like this amazing emotional journey all the time, but if majority of it is toxic, and that then reflects the truth of reality, right? Are you actually here to find love, or are you there to be chosen? Are you actually there to find a partner, or do you just want to look good on camera and be with somebody who suits that aesthetic that you're looking for? You know what I mean? It's where is it coming from? And I think you put a perfect period at the end of that sentence. Love does not require you to sacrifice yourself. I love it. That's perfect. Beautiful. Mic drop.
I love your validation.
And that hit me
Makes me
hard.
all
That was great. That was like,
I I learned a lot from you, and then I also learned a lot from my own experience.
yeah.
So that was thanks to you as well. We know, we get it,
Yeah.
we understand, we hear you in our own ways. So,
Yes. We've come full circle today, I think. We've raged, but we came back in a very mutual, loving, kind, connected space. And I love that for us. So
but there is one particular movie that I want to mention before we end this because
okay.
I really wanted to say this. It's been sitting in my gut and on my chest for a long time, and I can't talk to anyone else about my rage towards it. Have you watched Deep Water Horizon?
Oh yeah. Ages ago. Based on a real life story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And every time I watch it, I become infuriated all over again, which is just why I really had this dire need to say it. Just because BP, if you haven't seen it before, I highly recommend to watch it. But I just will never get over that BP had no accountability and responsibility for what happened. It's a true story, like Nina said, by the way, absolutely true.
Yeah.
And I will never get over that. It constantly, when I watch it, fuels my fire because no one outside of CEO would get away with that shit. And they shouldn't get away with it. So the fact that BP was able to get away with it, no responsibility and accountability, yet they were the ones that didn't do the safety check that they should have done, I'll never get over it. I'll never get over the injustice.
Yeah.
I had to get that off my chest because I won't sleep tonight thinking about I didn't get to say this in the episode. I really wanted to say it. I really wanted someone to talk to about this because every time I watch it, I'm like alone in it. And I'm sitting here going, those people died and no one had any accountability and responsibility for it when there should have been. They did not need to pass away. This did not need to happen. This did not need to happen. And it was all because of money. It was all because of no, let me say that again. It was all because of their greed. Money is not the root of evil. Human beings made it so. Just because of their greed. They were losing money. They were losing revenue. And because they were losing revenue and it'd been, I think, I don't know if it was a few months since the last time that they were able to get mud, I think they called it. But I think it'd been like 69 days or something like that. Don't quote me. And because it was over their time bracket, they were like pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And because of that, because they were losing money, which I wonder if it even cracked a dent, human lives were lost. I will never be okay with human lives being lost over pieces of paper that human beings have given so much power to and created a society around it that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about you. It only matters about them, those pieces of paper, and that's it.
I remember when it happened in real life. And for me, it's not just the human life, but also the ocean. You ruined animals within the in the biosphere, I believe it's called. You ruined the ocean, you ruined life, and continue to do so, and it continues to happen in every single aspect of society. But it's disgusting. The fact that they got away doesn't surprise me, but it's I plead the fifth because what I'm going to say will get me in trouble, so I shall keep my mouth shut.
You shouldn't get into trouble for, speaking your understandable rage towards something that was inhumane.
Yeah.
On all levels.
Yeah.
I mean, on the news, they talk about when someone, I'm not validating theft, right? But if someone steals from a supermarket, the way that they talk about it is, oh, the injustice is beyond. You have something as inhumane as this that didn't just hurt humans, it hurt, what did you call it?
The planet.
What was the scientific term?
Biosphere, I believe it's called.
There was gallons and gallons that were leaked into the water.
Yeah.
That's not an atrocity.
No, because billionaires did it. That's just an oopsie. If it's a poor person who did it, a commoner, then it's vile, it's evil, it's never, no, bad.
Punishment, shame in front of everyone.
Oh,
I'm one of those people that will never forget it.
yeah, same.
Anyway, I've finished my rant. I will bring it up again one day though. I will not drop it. So you will hear it from me again one day, but for now, I've closed the door. Not locked, just closed for now.
Left it ajar. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for joining us today. Comment down below what TV shows have driven you insane, or maybe other TV shows that have represented something in society where you're like, what? We need to talk about it. I'm always happy to have that conversation all day, every day. I'm game. Ashley is as well. So be sure to
come in with kindness. As long as you come in with kindness. If you don't come in with kindness, we don't respond.
Yes, of course.
And that is that.
Yeah. But
can't have a conversation when it's not kindness.
Yes. But yes, guys. Until next time. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen.
Till next time. Da, 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 da.
Bye, guys.
Bye.